Hey guys, my name is Anjali and I am a student at UCI's School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. And I am a joint student between Dr. Brian Pagel and Dr. David Mobley, and I'm currently in my second year. And my research surrounds improving DNA-encoded library chemical synthesis. My research surrounds developing methods for improving DNA-encoded libraries for chemical synthesis. And DNA-encoded libraries are a method of building up small molecule types of drugs that can be used in drug screening later on. So in particular, my project is utilizing cheminformatic and machine learning tools to try and use previous data from screening experiments to feed back into library generation. And this way, we can predict which building blocks, like Legos, are going to make the best small molecules for a certain target. Because antibiotic resistance is a global issue, and we simply cannot create new antibiotics at the current rate that they are needed, I'm hoping that my research can help to shorten the timeline for antibiotic drug delivery. And to do this, we would basically study the current structures of drugs and sort of what building blocks we could use to create a synthetic route to building a new generation of molecules. And our hopes are that these molecules will be very effective against a pathogen and also be less prone to evolving a resistant pathogen, meaning that these drugs should be able to work longer and without fear of a pathogen evolving new resistance to it. So this research is really impactful because building drugs, especially good drugs, is an extremely difficult task. It often takes industries decades and billions of dollars of the most skilled researchers working on a project to even get out a single lead compound. So the drug development process is very lengthy, and we're hoping that by using some of the methods I'm developing, we can shorten that timeline. For example, the development of antibiotics or CNS targeted drugs cannot meet the demand that's so rapidly evolving in the society. And being able to make huge libraries of compounds using these building blocks could work in our favor because we could predict which building blocks are going to be the most effective and make drugs using those building blocks. That way, the resulting compounds have a much higher chance of being effective and making good drugs for people. Some of the work that the labs that I work in focus on is sort of democratizing these ideals that used to be very specific to big pharma in terms of like high throughput screens or any of these like sort of really big endeavors that smaller companies couldn't attempt without lots of capital and lots of funding. And a lot of these smaller companies are located in areas that might be underserved or might not have the best resources. And so I think a lot of the research perspectives that I've gained from being here at UCI and being in a very diverse environment are learning about how do we take our developments, but also share them with the world so that areas that do not have the same resources that we do can also benefit and make further advances upon the things that we have developed, whether that be small companies or smaller research labs at universities that don't have a lot of access to these big industrial centers like we do. And yeah, I think that's sort of the key, is sort of democratizing research. Like, how do we sort of spread out all of these different discoveries that we have so that more people can access them and also build upon them? I personally came to UCI because I saw that it was a school that was undergoing a lot of growth, especially in the pharmaceutical sciences. Many of the other programs I visited had, strong qualifications and things like that, but the energy that I got from UCI is that it's a very interdisciplinary program, and they're still consistently recruiting very fantastic researchers, and they're developing really groundbreaking research. And I just wanted to be a part of that. Additionally, the area that we are in is in a type of hub for pharmaceutical research. So there's a lot of opportunities to network in the immediate area, whether it is you're interested in industry or in academia, there's opportunities for all of that. as well as on campus with clubs like GPS, STEM, and other professional development clubs. I feel really fulfilled in my research because I get to sort of apply my multidisciplinary background in both biology and neuroscience, and I get to take those techniques and apply them to my work now. So one thing that I was really interested in was pairing computational techniques with actual wet lab research. I find that the progress in this field is really going to be augmented by using computational methods such as modeling or predictive building, especially in the pharmaceutical industry. And that's exactly the project that I get to work on. So I love that. And I love that UCI makes many opportunities for students, sort of like personalizing what your own needs are. I also wanted to talk about the administrative support that I've received at UCI. Whenever I ran into an issue with funding or with any other issues in the department, they have been extremely, extremely helpful. And they've made my position here pretty effortless. Any issues that I ran into, they were more than ready to step in and take over. That way I didn't have to deal with anything and I could focus on my research. And I really, really appreciate that because everyone's going to face issues in graduate school. It could be different things, but you want to have a supportive team behind you. And that's really what I found here at UCI. Yeah, so one of my most favorite parts is that I am literally friends with everyone, which I feel like not a lot of people can say. I'm friends with my professors, I'm friends with my research advisors, and of course, I'm friends with my fellow students and my peers. And I find that building a community like that at UCI is very helpful to the research culture because it really does feel like a family and everyone sort of contributes to everyone else's project. And it makes your project that much stronger. Another thing that I love about being a PhD student at UCI is all of the resources that we get, not just academic, but we also get a lot of networking opportunities through clubs like GPS STEM. And there's also many other opportunities on campus to get involved in things like internship fairs or career fairs, if you're interested in any of that, because I feel like UCI also puts a lot of emphasis on what you're going to do postgraduate, which is another great reason that I love being a PhD student here. UCI has one of the most family but research-oriented cultures like I've ever experienced. Everyone is friends with everyone. I'm friends with my professors, I'm friends with my research advisors, and of course my cohort. We're all like one big family, and it really helps to support your research when you can have a lot of perspectives around you and feel comfortable talking to these people as if, you know, they were your own family. And I really like that. And it's made me feel a lot closer to the whole community. Yeah, so I think given that UCI is located in California and we do have many different minority populations in the area, I think UCI has made huge steps forward in terms of increasing diversity on its campus. And we have many programs that are solely dedicated to reviewing applicants and sort of their backgrounds and demographics to make sure that we can become a very inclusive university of all, you know, shapes and sizes of people. And we, especially in the graduate program, I have seen probably the most diversity in this program compared to any other program that I interviewed at. And I see people who are international. I see people who are first generation. I see, you know, Black, white, Latino, all kinds of demographics. And I feel like not only has that impacted my social life in a positive way because I learned so many new things from all of these people, but it's also brought a lot of diversity to research culture and sort of the different perspectives that people see things, and it's helped to strengthen our community for sure. Having diversity in research is very important, especially when you are in a field that is doing something like medicine or public health or pharmaceutical sciences, because your research is going to have impacts on the entire community. And I think having those diverse perspectives while you're doing the research allows you to look into the world of not just the people who are immediately standing right next to you, but also downstream. How are my actions and my developments going to affect all of these different demographic groups? Is it going to be subjectively targeting one area of society, or how do we distribute this so that it's sort of democratized among the whole nation? Yeah, so in particular, I'm interested in going into the pharmaceutical industry after I graduate. And because I am in this area and because of clubs like GPS STEM, there's often industry speakers who will come and do panels here. Now that it's COVID, we do these online sort of seminars. And there's even a course sequence within PharmSci in which they bring in industry speakers. And that allows you to personally network with people who are currently connected to industry and help you learn more about those projects and about companies that you might be interested in targeting once you graduate. Of course, COVID has thrown a wrench in many people's plans for research, but I actually took the opportunity to use that time to develop a lot of the computational methods that I would be using in my research, and sort of prepare myself and do all of my predictive analysis before I actually go into the lab and synthesize those very same molecules. So one thing about this research project is that it's very flexible. And so that's one of the aspects that I really liked about it and allowed me to capitalize upon it in COVID times.